Tom Fowler, business reporter for the Houston Chronicle. Tom, thanks for joining us. Why was he in Virginia? I know that he lives there. His business is in Texas. He lives in Antigua. Why was he served with these papers in Virginia? Any idea why he's up here?
Honestly, I don't know. We did hear about the same time that he was served. We heard he was up that way looking for an attorney. I don't know if Fredericksburg, where he was served, is a mecca for attorneys necessarily, but not definite why there of all places.
All right. Well, we'll probably get that tomorrow. All right. Now, who is this guy? Who's he being charged, or not criminally charged, but at least civilly investigated for swindling?
Well, Alan Stanford, he's from a small town kind of near Waco, Mejia. In the 80s, he was known more for real estate down here in Houston, buying distressed properties at some apartment complexes. And then he apparently he really sort of started making the big money when he went to the Caribbean to raise money for some other real estate deals. And the story goes that essentially he found a lot of success with some investors, and they sort of asked him, well, what's next? And it was then starting up the bank, first in Montserrat, now Antigua, and using it from there to get more investors in. And a lot of high net individuals, certainly from South America, Central America, were among some of his biggest investors. Plenty of Americans as well, but he seemed to focus on Latin America in particular. And the
all right, he's made an awful lot of contributions to Republicans and Democrats, so he's a big player in the political world. Why? And now his assets of his company have been frozen. What happened? I mean, where's the sort of the disconnect? Why are they suddenly looking at him?
Well, I don't think it's exactly that they're looking at him suddenly. I mean, it's certainly anytime you have a bank in Antigua, I'm sure investigators have been looking in the past. And as we've written in the Chronicle in the past, in the 90s, there was, State Department was crying foul about a lot of banking practices in Antigua, and they were certainly a big part of the community there. I think what's happened more recently is, certainly the impression we get is with the Madoff fallout, there's been a lot more push to look at these other issues that have been maybe hanging out there over the years. They've been charged by FINRA in the past, not charged, but fined by FINRA, the regulatory body for the securities industry. Small fines for some minor issues. But really, I think when you have a company that has these returns consistently, 10 years of, for some of their investments, 14%, something like a CD getting 14% when the rest of the market's 7%, 10%, or losing money. That's the kind of thing that investors should have been raising their eyebrows. I'm certainly sure the investigators now are that's caught their attention.
All right, he hasn't been, let me emphasize again, he hasn't been charged criminally. I suspect that that's coming. But there's also something about Mexico, at least swirling around. Is he thought to have laundered funds coming out of Mexico? Is that one of the allegations?
There's been a report, an allegation, unnamed sources by other media groups saying that, yeah, there is some discussion of that. We do know that and we're reporting that the Department of Justice does have a criminal investigation going on against him now. Don't know if it has anything to do with that necessarily. Back in late 90s, though, he did actually turn over about $3.1 million from his bank that was supposedly Mexican cocaine cartel money. And this is something he was very open about. As I remember our reporting at the time, it said that, he said it was the right thing to do. So he was, and apparently it was the first time that actually happened, of a bank actually turning the money over. So he was sort of in the good guy role back then.
All right, married, girlfriends, what's his social status? Because we see lots of video of him with a lot of attractive women.
I don't know details of that. In terms of the social scene, Houston, he wasn't here a lot. I mean, he'd be in the society page every now and then, but really get the sense that he was doing and he did some philanthropic stuff here as well, but really he was doing most of his socializing in the Caribbean. I mean, Antigua's a little bit prettier than Houston, as much as I like Houston, but my understanding is, I believe there's girlfriends, but that's really not something I've been focusing on.
All right. Well, I'll do a big shout-out for Houston. I was there during Katrina, and Houston was unbelievable the way they helped everybody. So I'll give Houston a shout-out, even though that you took a little bit of a whack. Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it. Up next, our